Veena, can you please start? Veena, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sir, good afternoon, sir. A warm good afternoon to one and all gathered today. Learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. With these words of Albert Einstein, I heartily welcome you all for the final day of the 5-day online faculty development program on Publish to Progress, organized by the PG and Research Department of Economics, Holy Cross College, Trichy. I feel so privileged to once again welcome our resource person, Mr. Murugaraj Shanmugam, founder and director of the Tolga Publishing Services, Chennai. We welcome you, sir. I happily welcome our beloved participants who have joined from different institutions of various parts of the country. I joyfully welcome you all. It's time for the prayer. Prayer does not change God, but it changes Him who prays. Let's seek the divine's blessing through this song.
God is good all the time. He put a song of praise in this heart of mine. God is good all the time. Through the darkest night, His light will shine. God is good. God is good all the time. If you're walking through the valley and there are shadows all around, do not fear. He will guide you. He will keep you safe and sound. 'Cause He has promised to never leave you nor forsake you. And His word is true. God is good all the time. He put a song of praise in this heart of mine. God is good all the time. Through the darkest night, His light will shine. God is good. God is good all the time.
Thank you, participants. Dear participants, one information. After SAR's presentation and a question and answer session today, I request any two participants to kindly share their feedback about the program. And those who volunteer to share the feedback, kindly enter your name in the chat box. Later, kindly share your feedback. And after the vote of thanks, kindly switch on the camera. We shall take a screenshot photo. Thank you. Without further delay, I will hand over the session to our resource person. Over to you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, and good evening, all of you. So, all good things come to an end at finally. So here we are at the final day of our 5-day workshop, FDP rather. Okay, so in which we started talking about the journal identification, how to collect literature, and then how to set off that writing habit if it is not already there. And we also saw yesterday how we can exploit some glimpses. Okay, as I said, MS Word, whatever we saw yesterday and whatever we are using with respect to MS Word in MS Word is only the tip of the iceberg, as they proverbially call it. There are a lot of features that we can exploit in order for us to become efficient writers. Okay, so today we are going to kind of sum up. So I'm going to start from day one, wherein we talked about how to identify journal and other things. So today it is preparing your manuscript. So two things we are going to do. One is that we are going to look at one of the journals, considering the various components we discussed on day one, and also taking a little more time about, in the author submission process outlined in the journal. Okay, so with that quick intro, I'm going to take you to our so you should be looking at the Journal of Economics homepage. Are you all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. So we are going to switch between these two tabs. Okay, so one is this. Let me just minimize it and maximize the central image. So you're all. Okay. I'm really sorry, I'm messing up. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So we are in the homepage of Journal of Economics. Okay. And we saw the other day on day one, 5 components that you should look for in a journal. Okay. It's about finding information, understanding a reputation, upholding quality, negotiating the terms, and other information, miscellaneous. Okay. So the most important thing that you should always look for in any journal is the aims and scope of the journal. Because as I said earlier, the bride and the groom should be a perfect match. Okay, so as perfect, okay, perfect is an ideal state, but towards perfection is what our goal is. So if we can get 10 out of 10, there is nothing like that. So we start with the most important aspect, which is aims and scope. Most of the journals in their overview itself will tell you what the journal is about. For example, this journal says specializing in mathematical economic theory. Journal of Economics focuses on microeconomic theory while also publishing papers on macroeconomic topics as well as econometric case studies of general interest. Regular supplementary volumes are devoted to topics of central importance to both modern theoretical approach and present economic reality. Fields of interest, applied economic theory and its empirical testing. Okay, so this is a generic overview of the journal, but there is a link in almost all the journals. The aims and scope, in fact, I can say with I can say with 100% confidence that all the journals will have this section called aims and scope. This Journal of Economics also has a link for the aims and scope. So we'll go to that page and see what it says. Okay, it's the same thing. So it's a repetition of what was provided in the overview. So basically, aims and scope is primarily this journal looks for papers on microeconomic theory, but it also accepts papers on macroeconomic topics and econometric case studies. Okay, so empirical testing as a, so if your work falls under this category, I can, in fact, this is kind of a wider, scope, but still there are some journals that specifically says we will accept only empirical studies. Okay, so those kind of aims and scope should also be considered. Okay, when you look at the aims and scope, you will find all of this information. So the next one is information about the journal. Okay, so we can see other information. So even though it is, I'll just go through the page one by one and then explain the things. Okay, so let us take you to the home page again. Okay, and we have important numbers displayed at the prominently at the top. Okay, so impact factor is 1.7 as of 2022. Submission to decision, it is 1 day. So when you submit a paper, the next day or the day after, you will know whether the first pass is okay or not. Okay, so impact factor is usually 2 years, and a 5-year impact factor gives a longer duration, considers a longer duration. So that impact factor is 1.8. Okay, and there are also downloads, and we are going to see about the editorial board. Okay, so the editorial board, as I said, is a driving force behind the journal. It sets a direction for the journal. Okay, so we need to know who these people are. So we have the managing editor. Sometimes they are called the chief editor, editor-in-chief. Okay, so Giacomo Carnio, Department of Economics from Berlin, Germany. Okay, and there are associate editors from different countries. You can see that this journal has a variety of, is represented by researchers, editors from different parts of the world, even though it is slightly dominated by a few countries, Germany especially, but we can see that other countries, for example, Denmark, France, Turkey, Belgium, Italy, Germany, again Germany, Italy again, France again, USA, UK, Japan, Taiwan, China, India, Japan again, USA again, Netherlands, Austria, Germany again, Hong Kong, UK again, Germany again. So you can see that it is represented, fairly represented by most of many other countries. Okay, so this makeup of the editorial board is also very important. Sometimes, okay, it is not always wrong to have representatives from one country. Okay, sometimes when the journal focuses more on a particular country, so the editorial board is also expected to be comprised of a lot of people from the same country. But in general, if there are no such country specific restrictions, then the editorial board should also reflect that diversity across different countries. We can see that the associate editors of this journal come from different countries. Okay, the second part. And we can also talk about the peer review process and other things. We will get into the journal metrics, visa, 2-year metric, 5-year metric, and we want to know how or in which databases this journal is being indexed. So we will see that. We'll see if this information is available anywhere. So let us go back to the home page again, Journal of Economics. Okay, so we see that after the impact factor, the latest issues are available here. Articles from the latest issue are available here. Okay, so we can see that this abstracted and indexed in, you can see that it is not simply one Scopus or Web of Science or a couple of others, but it is abstracted and indexed in nearly how many? 25, maybe 30 indexing services. Prominently, we would always be looking for two things, right? Scopus, Web of Science, UGC CARE 1, right? So this actually falls under UGC CARE 2 list. Okay, UGC CARE list also here. Scopus is here, but Web of Science is not here, but it is okay. We also notice that this is available in research papers in economics, REPEC. Okay, and EconLit is also there, just are there. So you can see that it is, it's sufficient for us to see that the journal is indexed in Scopus or Web of Science or UGC CARE list, but we notice that, which means that this journal has met the expectations or exceeded the expectations of not just 1 or 2 or 3 indexing bodies. It has met or exceeded the expectations of nearly 30 indexing bodies. What does that mean? It has withstood, or it is withstanding, the scrutiny of so many different people. Okay, we can fairly assume that all of these, not all of these 30 will have the same set of requirements. Some of these requirements, some of these benchmarks will be common, for example, time to decision and other things, but in general they may have different expectations, otherwise there is no need for different databases, right? So we can see that when one journal withstands the scrutiny of 30 different abstracting services, then we can say that this journal is a really good journal. Okay, so that's number one. When I say good, in terms of the policies and other things. Okay, so that's there. And the next one, we'll talk about the peer review process, author instructions. They are all clubbed together at the same place. So the journal also provides links for important links for authors and readers. So it says submission guidelines are provided, language editing services, ethics and disclosures, how to publish with us, open access fees and funding, contact the journal. So let us take these two things. Okay, we should know what is the process for submitting to this journal. So it says instruction for authors, starts with instruction for authors. Okay, oh sorry, how to publishers is here. So the publishing options, fees and funding, and licenses available for authors. Okay, it's a hybrid open access journal. What does it mean? It means that this journal accepts both subscription articles and open access articles, which means the author can choose to pay something and use it as an open access model, or the author can say, no, I don't want to pay, I will just go with the regular way of submitting to a paper, which we colloquially call it a free journal. Okay, so both options are available. Remember, the journal, any good journal will not say pay this much. They will tell you how much it will cost, but you will not be expected to pay any money upfront. Okay, while you submit the article, you don't have to, you should not be asked to pay any money. If any journal says upload your article and pay X amount of rupees, then please run away from the journal. Okay, it is always better to err on the side of caution rather than to suffer later. So any journal that says give me X amount of money at the time of submission, it's a severe red flag. Run away from it. Okay, so how does it work? The journal, any good journal, will accept your paper, in the sense you can submit your paper, it will go through the desk review, and then if it is found suitable to the aims and scope, presentation, everything, it will go to the peer review. The two peer reviewers at least will give their opinions about the paper. If both of them agree that this paper is publishable, maybe as it is, or maybe with some revisions, it will be accepted for publication at a later stage. Only when the journal says your paper has been accepted for publication after the peer review process, that's very important, after the peer review process. So only then the journal will tell you, especially this journal will tell you, you have two options. One, you can publish the paper in the standard traditional method, you don't have to pay anything, so the rights will be with the journal. After 6 months or 1 year, you will be free to share it. So for 6 months or 1 year, it will be preserved within the paywall, which means anybody who wants to read it has to pay and read it. Or the second option, you can pay, I think it is close to around 3 lakh rupees in the Indian equivalent. So you pay open access money, which means the article will be available for free for everyone the moment it is accepted for publication. Okay, so only at this point of time, the journal should ask you for money, never at an early stage. That is very important. Okay, so it says what are the traditional publishing model, who subscribe to Journal of Economics or who pay to read specific articles. Open access, everybody, it is free, but there are article publication charges. Okay, and these are all some fine prints about the open access model. There are a lot of open access policies are available. Open access movements are coming up based on different countries. Okay, so all of these will be outlined in these links. I strongly recommend that you take some time to go through all of these principles. I mean, not necessarily for this journal, any journal that you choose, don't simply ignore the open access related, because sometimes what happens is when we are not really sure about a particular concept, we try to, we tend to move away from it. We tend to ignore it, gloss over, and then move away. Please don't do that. Okay, so take the time to go through all of these things. Spend some time. As I keep saying, research and publication are two sides of the coin. As much as you spend time in terms of your, on your work, you have to spend that much time in understanding the publication process also. Only then you will be able to ace the publication process. Otherwise, at some point of time, you will get compromised at something and later you might regret. Okay, so don't go to that situation. Take the time to understand what is happening in the world of publishing. What is open access? What are the publication related, ethics related problems that are being reported? So all of this information, keep a watch, regularly read, spend some 10-15 minutes every day. Okay, so you can regularly read, and then another 3 months or 6 months you will be, you will understand everything about journal publication processes. What is accepted, what is not accepted, what is ethical, what is unethical, what is charged, what is not charged, what are the rights available for you. Everything you will know, but it takes some time to build this habit of knowing about publication. But as a researcher, it is an important requirement for you. Please don't gloss over. Okay, now of course they will sell benefits of open access and other things. Anyway, coming down, what are the article processing charges? This is actually the fee that you will be paying for open access. Normally we call it the paid journal, so which is not actually correct. It's a colloquial term. So the current APC is 2,190 pounds, which is close to 2 lakh rupees. Okay, so you will find all of the information in the open access support portal or our journal pricing FAQs. You can go, because we are not actually into this journal, we are not planning into that. I'm not going into the second level of details, but I'm just taking you to the overall components. Okay, and then the next important concept is a Creative Commons licenses. So what licenses are available when an article is published in the Journal of Economics? As an author, what rights do you have? Can you reproduce it? Can you share it on your blog? Can you publish it on your website? Can you give it to your university's website? Can you share it via WhatsApp? All right, and can you allow somebody to translate it in another language? So all of these are outlined in Creative Commons is completely different. Okay, it is not related, it is not restricted only to the world of publishing. It is a universal phenomenon. Okay, Creative Commons is available for all the fields, not just for publishing. Any creative person, any creator, whether it is a drawing or a piece of work, any intellectual property, okay, for that matter. So what are the rights available? How can that right be utilized? So that is defined by Creative Commons. So it's normally you will come across a lot of this phrase called CC-BY license. This is a Creative Commons Attribution International License. Okay, so these are all the first set of things. How to publish? When you publish, 3 things you should consider for this journal. What are the options available? What are the fees and funding available? Okay, when I say funding, the journal doesn't give you funding. When you get funding from others, what are the expectations? And finally, the licenses associated with it. Next, let us go to the submission guidelines. So it gives instruction for authors. So how should a manuscript look like? What are the permissions? So if you are using somebody else's image or a table without much of a modification or completely in its idea, then you should seek permission. So how to get the permission and other things. Okay, and then this comes the formatting part of it. Title page. What are all the various components that should be included in the title page? Okay, author information. Abstract. It says 150 to 250 words. Abstract should not contain any undefined abbreviations or unspecified references. Okay, and then how about keywords, statements of declaration, competing interest. All right, classification codes. So all of this primarily says they prefer text submission, but word submissions are also accepted, but primarily text submissions. Okay, and then how abbreviation should be treated, footnotes, acknowledgements, all of these things. With respect to scientific style, with respect to references, how it should be listed, cited, and structured. Okay, so all information that is necessary before you submit a paper at the time of preparing 2 page, it is really long list of instructions for authors. Okay, all right. So this is also the reason I recommended that you choose a journal before you write an article. Okay, because once you write the article, you would have spent a lot of time already in getting that article in shape. After that, when you go through this journal submission guidelines and make changes, it is going to be really substantial time involved in that. So it's a good idea for you to select the journal before you start writing the paper, or at least you keep the paper in pieces. As I told already, each of the topics, each of the things are separate pieces. Instead of putting them together, keep them separate and then modify which ones are need to be. That's the second best thing that you can do. Okay, so that's about the editor-in-chief, editorial board. Okay, what does it say about the peer review process? So the journal uses double anonymous peer review. What does that mean? It means that the author do not know who the reviewers are. The reviewers do not know who the authors are. So it's like, question paper correction. Okay, I do not know which professor is correcting my paper, and the professor do not know whose paper is being corrected by him or her. Okay, so that's double blind. So that is also explained. Okay, and then OA option, visa, funder policies visa, and then audience stat, general presentation of information. So I don't think audience and other things are not explained. Most of Elsevier journals provide very good information about the audience, which countries read a lot of that particular journal. Okay, so those kind of details are also available. But again, that's the last aspect of it. But most importantly, these 3 areas, because negotiating the terms itself is coming into place only when you choose it to be an open access model. Okay, if you go by the subscription model, this doesn't come at all. Of course, the only relevant part is what are the rights available for me. Okay, so other than that, you don't have to worry about this part, but these 3 parts are very important. Okay, so when you select a journal, when you are about to find a target journal for your publication, you have to go through the shortlisted journals, each of the shortlisted journals, and look for information, look for these details, make a comparison chart. I would say that don't do the mental comparison, do it thoroughly using a spreadsheet. Okay, and decide before you even go for searching, undertake searching. What are your expectations? First, clearly note that down. Okay, how long can I wait? Do I have 2 months or 3 months time for first decision? Am I ready to pay the money for open access? How much is affordable for me? Okay, and so what is the kind of work, what is the area under which my work falls? So all of this, so collect this information and have it handy, and then go to the journal page, look for information. You will find the process of journal identification, the target journal identification, very simple for you. Okay, so with that part, I wanted to move on to another most important part. For example, if you consider even the Journal of Economics by Springer, it provides language editing services. Okay, now one of the things I told on day 0, okay, when during our introductory session, is that don't hesitate to have a coach or a professional to get your article right. Why is this important? This is very important because let's say, when you just passed, okay, a month ago, most of us would have started having our resolutions, which lasted for 1 week, 2 weeks. Maybe some of you have resolutions that are still holding you, which is really great. I stopped taking resolutions a long time back. Okay, so let's say some people think, okay, I want to build six pack, I want to gain some muscle strength, I want to reduce weight, I want to learn a language, I want to do this or do that. So once you say, okay, let's say you say I want to reduce weight, or I want to put in some muscle strength, or I want to develop a six pack. We do not just do anything at home, right? In the sense, we do not simply go through the internet and see whatever we can do, we will do. Okay. If you are serious about a six pack, or if you are serious about reducing weight, what we do, we hire a coach, right? We go to a gym. There is an instructor. Please mute yourselves. Please mute yourselves. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So Jacinta ma'am, can you please mute yourself?
Sir, you're muted, sir. May you please unmute, sir?
Thank you. So what we do hire a coach, or hire a consultant, get professional advice so that we can meet that goal, right? So the same thing, if you're not well, you go to your doctor. Okay. So it's simple cold, common cold or a headache, you just take some rest, it goes away, or maybe you take a paracetamol or some pill, and then it is. But if it is really a disease, if you are unwell for a couple of days, then you go to a doctor, because you know that it is not simply something that you can handle yourself. A professional is needed. That kind of mindset has to develop in fortunately or unfortunately, it is prevalent in India. We believe that everybody can edit. Everybody who is good at spoken English can edit. So let me tell you, editing is different from spoken English and written English. I mean, of course, written English and editing are almost similar, but there is no presentation, ma'am. I'm just speaking. Okay, so I'm just reiterating the need for researchers to hire professionals in order to get their articles right, and increase their chances of publication, acceptance to journals. Or if you are writing a thesis, getting a writing coach. Of course, your guide will help you, your seniors will help you, but a writing coach is a professional. Okay, they will tell you how to start, how to structure it, how to do it on a daily basis. Our guide will not have the time to tell you, okay, do this as a habit. They will give you some tips and tricks, and they will guide you to some extent, but a professional will come along during the journey of writing, during the journey of it takes 3 to 4 months for a thesis to come to completion. So this writing coach will travel along. Okay, how to. So please ensure that, because if you go to any major publisher, whether it is Springer, Elsevier, T&F, MDPA, or Frontiers, Sage, Pearson, any publisher you go, okay, you will see that they have published a link to avail their language editing services. What does that mean? They encourage, even the largest publishers, they encourage that the submission undergoes a professional round of editing or writing support before submission, because it will increase the chances of acceptance. You go to Elsevier site, because Elsevier publishes a lot of related data for researchers, a lot of really useful data. Okay, one of the important reasons, there is an article that says 8 reasons why my article gets rejected. Okay, you can look at that article in Elsevier site. One of the primary reasons an article gets rejected at the desk stage itself is language. A poor language means poor communication, which means it is not understood well by the reader. If it is not understood, there is no meaning for publication. So they reject it. They tell you your work is in general good, but it has to undergo language revisions. Okay, so hire a coach, get it. Doesn't cost you a bomb. Okay, it doesn't cost you 20, 30, 50,000 rupees. It's much less, but that is worth an investment, because it will increase the process, it will increase the chances of acceptance. Okay, so with that note, I am going to keep the forum open for your questions, anything related to our discussions in the last 5 days, and any other things related to publications, underwriting process. I'll be happy to answer.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, ma'am. What did you ask?
How to publish in Springer and hello? How to
Yes, ma'am.
publish in Springer and other reputed journal without paying any amount?
That's what I said. So one is that any publisher, okay, they have journals, right? Their journals are classified into three types basically. Sometimes it is, they say four. On the one hand, you have that subscription based journals, which means if I want to read that journal, I have to buy it. Okay. On the other hand, there is an open access journal, which means anybody can read that article without paying anything. So those are the two primary models. So there are some journals that say always you have to go only by this model or that model. Hybrid journals, the Journal of Economics which we just saw, it is a hybrid journal. Almost 99% of the journals are either hybrid or open access. Okay, that's a key distinction you should understand. Which means you should know, you have the option to choose to pay or not. Okay, so look for subscription journals. Okay, so which means they would not ask you for any money. That is number one. Number one, look for subscription based journals. Number one. Number two, even if it is open access, there are a lot of journals that do not charge anything for open access. Completely free open access journals are also available. Okay, it's a good idea as a researcher, each of you got to generate a list of journals that has potential for you. How you can do that? You can do that from your earlier process, which we discussed on day 2, literature collection. I told you, when you collect the literature, don't just look at the articles and its contents, also look at the journals that in which it is published. If you have identified, let's say 50 articles, I'm using the exact numbers in order for you to recall memory. If you identified 50 articles for literature survey, then maybe these 50 articles come from 10 or 12 journals. Okay, so some of these journals will have a majority of these articles. So identify the journals during the literature collection, identify journals which has a lot of your collection. Okay, for example, if Journal of Economics has 6 articles in the collection of in your literature collection, then it is one of the potential journals for you. Immediately go to the journal's homepage, read about the journal, try to understand what its expectations are. Similarly, each one of you should have a collection of potential journals for you. It is not something that you should do at a later stage. You can do that as part of your literature survey itself. Literature survey serves two purposes. One, it helps you identify literature for your work. It also helps you identify the journal for later publication, potential journal for publication. So read about the journal and identify journals that earlier I told you. One, subscription mode, which will not charge you anything. Number two, even if it is open access, many journals do not charge anything, which means you have advantages of both. You don't pay anything, but at the same time, it is also available for free everybody, for everybody. So it is a, நம்ம தமிழ்ல சொல்ற மாதிரி, it is ஒரே கல்லுல ரெண்டு மாங்காய். With the throw of one stone, you are able to get two fruits. Okay, so that's an important thing. So you need to identify the journal. There is no list of, you can create your own list. Okay, it's difficult for me to create a list because I don't belong to a specific domain, so you can do that.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so why Scopus journals are more costlier, well, comparing with UGC CARE listed journals? What are the differences? Okay, sir, let us understand why UGC CARE come into existence. Okay, let us start with that question. Okay, UGC, University Grants Commission, is a body that governs universities across India, right? It doesn't have any role with respect to the journals, which journals to publish, which journals you should not publish. I'm talking about specific journals. But India is a unique country, right? We can talk about, unity in diversity with diverse cultures, diverse people, diverse expectations, and so on and so forth. Okay, even if you consider Tamil Nadu, it has a mix of different dialects in Tamil itself, different cultures, Chettinad culture, Kongu culture, Kaveri belt culture, Chennai culture. Okay, so a lot many cultures are, it's not exactly the same. So even though we are together under an umbrella called Tamil Nadu or India, we are still diverse in nature. That's number one. Number two, okay, if you take, let's say, Greek literature or Latin literature, English literature for that matter, it has a worldwide audience. But if you consider, let's say, Kannada literature or Tamil literature or Malayalam literature, it doesn't have any worldwide audience. This audience, this research is limited to a very small place. So let's say I'm doing research in Tamil culture. Okay, the chances of my publication to be accepted in an international journal are very less, very small, because there may not be, most probably there is not a journal, an international journal that focuses on Tamil culture. Maybe there is a journal that focuses on culture, a much more, wider area in which I can try to publish my article. But then again, the chances are very small. Okay. So in order to address that problem, so UGC CARE came into play. So Consortium of Academic Research and Ethics or something that CARE stand for. Okay, so that came into play and came with two lists. One list, CARE list 1, identifies journals that are specific to Indian context. Okay. And journal, the list 2 is basically the other things, Scopus, Web of Science, everything is placed under list 2. So there is a primary reason why UGC came up with the concept called CARE list, and we have a CARE 1 list and a CARE 2 list. If you cannot compete, if there is not a possibility for a researcher to compete at the international level, when I say compete, for publication at the international level, at least we should be able to provide an opportunity to publish at the Indian level. That's how the came into play. So obviously the Scopus indexed journals and most of these international organizations, international journals, they have developed some kind of a reputation. So they also charge some premium money, and getting into that is a completely different, discussion. I can talk about it for for a couple of hours. Why they charge, what they charge, and other things, but that's for a different discussion. So this is primarily the major reason, sir.
Yes, interesting. Sir, the UGC careless journals, sir, but it's not indexed in any of the big journal like Elsewhere, Scopus, above Science. Why is it so, sir?
It is a corollary of my previous answer, sir. So if you go to Scopus or Web of Science, so basically they will not talk about the subject matter and other things. So their expectations are a bit stringent. Okay, so for example, it is like, if you are, if I can give an example of a student in the examination, Scopus is like getting 60 mark for pass percentage. Okay, UGC CARE list is a bit flexible. 45 marks it will accept us because of the considerations at a local level. Okay, we do not have much opportunity, so they say, okay, that much stringent criteria may not really help. So that's why it is very difficult for India. It is possible, but maybe because we are happy with being a CARE listed journal rather than Scopus listed journal. So I think this comes from the mindset of the Indian publishers rather than anything else. It's my personal opinion anyway.
That way, we actually also miss the citation, sir. So if you're
So
publishing Scopus, we get citation, but UGC
true,
careless, we don't get any citation.
true. That's the same for subscription and open access journals also. When you go, for free journals, we call it. Okay, free journal publish panta. I published in a free journal, so I don't have to pay anything. Oh wow, fantastic! I saved 20,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees or 1 lakh rupees. But what is the cost we are paying? We are not able to share our work with others freely for 6 months to 1 year, sometimes even 2 years. Okay, consider the fast growing fields like an artificial intelligence or large language models. 2 years is nothing. I mean, after the 2 years, whatever we are talking about today, it's nothing. My son in 10th standard, he is learning about Python, SQL, and other things. Okay, we learned it. No, at least I knew about it. I haven't learned about it. I knew about it at a very late stage in my life. Okay, so 2 years later, he, probably in the 11th standard, 12th standard, he would learn R programming and other things. Okay, so 2 years is a very long period in terms of research in large language models or artificial intelligence project. But at the same time, certain conservative research like literature and other things, it will not have such a big impact. Okay, so in this case, let's say I'm working on artificial intelligence and I'm publishing a paper in a free journal, as we call it, which means the free journal says for 1 year you cannot share it with others. They have to only read that article by paying money or by buying the subscription for the journal. So for 1 year, my work will not be visible to everybody. It will be visible only to a limited amount of researchers, which means the citations will actually naturally come down. So the price we are paying for not choosing open access is that we are losing out on citations, which means our H index is going to be low. If you remember from our day 0, once again, number of publications is no more the benchmark. Okay, someone saying I published 50 papers, 100 papers, 200 papers, it doesn't matter. But the H index, how many citations your papers have received, that is the most important benchmark. And I mark my words, in a couple of years, everybody will be talking about H index. Nobody will be talking about the number of journals. So open access journals, paying for that, it has its own advantages. And the disadvantage is that you have to pay some money. But again, if you are serious about research, you need to think about spending something on open access also. User friendly in terms of Mendeley versus Zartiro, I think they are both one of most commonly used reference managers. I have used Zartiro a lot. I have tried Mendeley as part of my learning process. I find Zartiro to be user friendly and available. I mean, meeting my expectations at a basic level. And most importantly, Zartiro is open access, which means you can use it without paying anything. Manually, you need to take subscription. You have to pay for license. So other than that, my recommendation is that either is acceptable. There is nothing much of a difference as far as I know.
How to get UGC care list publications?
I don't get your question, ma'am. How to get now? What do you mean by that?
Means we want to publish our article, but some fake UGC care list, they are saying yeah, we are publishing the UGC care list, but after publishing we will get it is a fake. How to find
Okay.
out whether it is a UGC care list before publishing?
Okay. So two possibilities, ma'am. One is that at the time of doing the journal search process, okay, we looked at Journal of Economics now. The same way you have to look for it. So it says, for example, Journal of Economics says in 30 different places it is listed. Okay. So let me share that page for you once again. Entire screen I'm going to share. Okay. So the Journal of Economics, it says it is indexed under Scopus. Okay, but don't simply agree because the journal says so. If you are not sure, in fact, I would say that you have to check it. You don't have to check everything. but Scopus is our primary expectation. So let us go to Scopus journal search. Okay, so we will actually validate that this is journal is there or not. Okay, so title of the journal, the title is Journal of Economics. I'm talking about Journal of Economics. Title, I have a problem even here itself. I can't find sources. I find 167 journals. It says Quarterly Journal of Economics, International Journal of Financial, Public Economics, Population Economics, Urban Economics. Okay. Labor Economics. Let me go for a higher number, 100 journals per page, so that I can quickly check that. Ecological, Public Accounting, Urban Economics, Economics and Logistics, Labor Economics, Monetary Health, International Business Economics, Cultural Economics, Economics and Business, Comparative Economics, Wine Economics. It's a RAND Journal of Economics. It's the same as ours. Okay, it's from Wiley Blackwell, but ours is Springer Journal, so it is not that. Housing, Aging, Baltic Journal, Journal of Asian Economics. Okay. So even this journal, Springer Nature's journal, which claims that it is part of Scopus, I'm not able to find that in Scopus. Let's see the second page also. So I can't find any reference to the Journal of Economics. Okay. So Journal of Economics, I can't find any reference in Scopus. It says it is indexed in Scopus, but my Scopus search says it is not at all there. Okay. So I will think twice. Okay. For example, let us also say UGC care list. Okay. Group 1. Select title, Journal of Economics, search. There are 6 journals, but you can see that all of these are Indian journals, okay, because we are looking at care list 1. Now let us consider care list 2. So it contains group 2 journals indexed in globally recognized databases. So it will not be separately listed here. Okay, Scopus source list is here, but it will take us to the Scopus page once again. So we have already checked that the Journal of Economics is not there. Okay, so the next possibility, But again, these two are the main things, right? We are looking for Scopus or Web of Science. It is not, I can't find it. I don't know when it was taken or why it was not taken. Scopus, it is not listed. And Web of Science, it is not indexed at all because the journal itself did not include that. So Web of Science is ruled out. So if you publish in Journal of Economics, then it may be acceptable or it may not be acceptable because I can't find that journal in Scopus index, even though this journal says it is indexed. Okay, so you cannot simply take it by the face value. He is a very good person. How do you know that? He himself told us, right? So that kind of thing. You cannot just simply take it by the face value. You have to go to the Scopus page or Web of Science page or UGC CAR 1 list and check whether this article journal is listed there. Number one. Number two, your question, yes, when I published the paper, it was there in UGC CAR list, but later it is moved. Okay, a very common example I'll give you is we are all aware of NAC accreditation, right? Most of our colleges and universities, we did NAC related, preparations and other things. We know that. You probably know some university or a college which has an A plus during one period and A in another period, maybe B plus in another period, right? How is it possible? Because the quality has changed over time. So it was at the top at some point of time, so they got A plus plus or A plus, whatever it is, and later the quality has deteriorated and they come down to B plus. The same thing happens with journals also. So if one particular journal becomes part of Scopus, it is not true that it will always be part of Scopus. It is not always be indexed and by Scopus. Okay, so Scopus will periodically review the process, periodically check whether the journal follows all the expectations, all the criteria outlined, laid out by Scopus. Every 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years, I don't exactly remember the period, but periodically it does it. So at any point of time, so maybe in 2024, during their evaluation, the journal met all the expectations and become part of CAR list 1. 2 years later or 1 year later, and the journal did not follow the processes properly, so it will be out of the process. So that's why sometimes you say when I published the paper, the journal was part of the CAR list, but now it is not. The reason is because now it has changed the processes, which is not acceptable for UGC CAR list. That's why it is not part.
So one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
So means I have paper to publish in UGC care list, but I am not getting proper guidance. So where and how to publish?
But when you say you do not get proper guidance, what exactly do you need, ma'am?
Publications means I want UGC care list publish to my article.
Gauri, ma'am. So let us talk about what we talked about, discussed in the last 5 days. First of all, you should select a list of journals. Have you done that? Okay, I'm not going to ask you one by one. I'm just asking you a kind of a checklist. You just think about it. Okay. So first of all, I should have a list of journals that are potential for my research, potential for publication of my research. Number one. Number two, you have to go through each of the journals the same way we discussed the Journal of Economics sometime, earlier today. So you have to go through each of the journal and find out what their expectations are. Okay, so if you are buying a house, you do not simply give you, okay, I give you 50 lakh, give me a house. You don't do that, right? You do shopping for houses for 3 months or 6 months, right? You go visit the places, you read the reviews, you look for what amenities are available. Okay, what is the size, how many bedrooms are there, where is the location, is the location nearer to my workplace, does it have schools nearby? And then you go visit a place, data from the Builders Association that says an average 5 visits are carried out by everybody before they finalize a house. Okay, even if you say I want to buy this house, you do not buy it. You go 2 times, 3 times, nearly 4th or 5th time only you finalize that builder. The same thing should happen with respect to journal also. You have to thoroughly read the instructions, read the information available there, and then decide. Once you do that, you will have all information available for you. You don't need anybody's support for that matter, because you have understood everything from the original source, which is the journal homepage. Manuscript matcher in terms of Web of Science. Okay, this is available in there is another option called the JANE, Journal Author Name Estimator, and Elsevier offers a similar thing, but it is only for Elsevier journals. It is called Elsevier's Journal Finder. Okay, Springer earlier used to have Journal Suggester, but I think they have take that away, and right now it will redirect you only to the list of journals. Okay, Wiley has something called the Journal Finder. T&F has, but all of these publishers, they will only consider their own journals. Okay, and the JANE, Journal Author Name Estimator, is a common. Similarly, Web of Science, it is a common, but it will consider only the articles that are journals that are only included in their database. So basically they are good. They are good enough to have a starter. Okay, but you cannot simply consider that as the only recommendation. I saw that, and this is the first name that appeared in Web of Science research, so I'm going to just choose that. You take that as a first point, as a reference to, as a starter, and then do your own research. Okay, so but most of the times they do some, especially with the arrival of artificial intelligence, the recommendations are much better nowadays. That's true, but you cannot just take it as the only input. ஒவ்வொரு பல்கலைக்கழகமும் தனக்கு சொந்தமான யூஜிசி கேர் லிஸ்டட் ஜேர்னல் பதிவு செய்து வைத்து அதன் அடிப்படையில் ஐடியல், but again it's running a journal is also not very easy, sir. It's really difficult. Okay, there's a lot of expectations, and running a quality journal, not compromising, because if a university says I'm running a journal, then naturally that bias will come in, right? I'll give preference to my university people, and the board of editors will say, okay, my student is waiting for a publication to submit the thesis, so somehow just let us push this article into this issue. So all of these things will come into play, and ultimately what might happen, okay, this is one possibility. Okay, so your suggestion is an ideal situation. If everything goes in the right direction, this is fantastic, but history says it is very difficult. Okay, ultimately it will bring down the quality of research. So usually you might have read it in economics. The one of the concepts is government is there not to run businesses, it is there to govern, right? Similarly, the university is there to govern colleges and frame policies, not to run journals. Okay, if it started getting into that aspect, then the direction will be lost, and ultimately it will affect the quality of research, overall research. And my perspective, again, these are all subjective questions, so there may be different answers, but this is my perspective. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Participants, if you have any questions or want to share your comments and feedback, kindly do so. Thank you.
Okay, so I would like to take a couple of minutes to talk about me, because I would like to associate with the participants in the longer run. So you can reach me on LinkedIn. Okay, Pooja Swami, please ask a question.
Sorry to
No
interrupt you,
problem,
sir,
no
but
problem.
I
Go
have a
ahead.
question. how to get access to those articles for reading, those which are not open access, because scholars like us of which universities don't have access to like publisher Springer and Taylor Francis, so we find it very difficult to get access to such kind of articles. So what are the different options available, if they are, if you could suggest on those?
See, if it is a paywalled article, which means you have to pay for that article, there is no option. Okay.
Okay.
I have heard about that, some pirate sites and other things, but I personally I don't recommend unethical, I mean, that question itself is subject to a larger debate, whether whether hiding research under paywall, is it ethical? That's a larger question the international audience is talking about. So, but anyway, when it comes as a business model and one author agrees that I'm going to um, publish without paying anything so that you have the rights, then it is like pirated book or a pirated cinema. It is available, but personally I wouldn't recommend it. Number one. Number two, if you find any article that is good enough for you, interesting for you, but you cannot read it because it says $40 to download, which is around 3,000 rupees for one article. For Indian audience, it is very difficult. Okay, I don't understand why these international publishers are not considering that. Okay, but probably they consider that this is Indian standard, not at this level. I don't know. But one thing that you can do is, if you are coming across an article that is of interest to you, you can't download it. You can go to the open access policies page. Okay, even in Journal of Economics, we discussed earlier today, the open access policies page was available, under which there is a section called rights available for the author. They will tell you whether the author can share their work individually to others. Okay, many journals allow this. For example, I have published a paper and you want to read about it. You cannot download it because it asks you to pay money. So what you can do is you can write to me personally and then ask, can I get a copy of your article and I can share it. Okay, this is one possibility. But other than that, either a university publication or sometimes large libraries, okay, Kanimara library or something like that. No, large libraries have some public, subscriptions, but again, it may not be for all the journals. So one possibility is to write to the author and then get a copy.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Good evening,
Please
sir.
go ahead, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Sir, one first question is, how do we increase the citations?
Ma'am, can you please mute
Second
yourself?
question is, paid journal or journal printed one?
Sir, Ramanaya sir, can you please come again? I didn't get you clearly.
Yeah. So last question is, how we normally can increase our citations for our publications? Okay. In my
Sir.
case, certain publications, continuously it is increasing, but in some cases which are published long back also there is no increase. Okay. What is that an author should do for increasing of citations? Google Scholar.
Okay.
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 Second,
Okay.
if the publication is made in any printed journal, it is not online. So how do the others will come to know that there is a publication? It's printed. So whether we have to send it to academia, ResearchGate, etc., without publication, only when published, if published work is okay, but how it is? I don't know exactly. Printed journal, they can't see this. Others cannot see
I
if
get
it
sir.
is
I get your
printed
question.
one
Get your
publication.
question. Sir,
Yeah, how
first
they
of all,
increase the citation?
yes, sir. So the question is primarily the two questions, but the primary underlying question is how to increase the chances of getting more citation, chances of citing, I mean, our article being cited. How can I increase my citation? That's basically Sar's question here. Okay. So basically what I would say is, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, research is not opted by so many people. Okay, only a handful of people, the gross enrollment ratio at school to college, from college to higher study to research, that it is slowly coming down. It's a tapering funnel. But in the last few years, people have generated, there's a lot of interest has generated for among people to pursue research. Even if they do not find any opportunities, they may not find any opportunities in academics or industry, they do it even sometimes even as fulfilling their own desire to complete a doctorate. Okay, which means this has increased the number of people who are doing research, number one. This has also increased the number of publications. Journals also have come up a lot in the last few years. A lot of open access journals, they have come out, which means earlier, if for example, if you are talking about theory of financial intermediation, you have 10 journals, let's say 10 years ago, you have only 10 journals. So you don't have any other possibility. You have to come within this, you have to play within these 10 journals. But now there are 30 journals. A lot of similar work is also happening. Okay, so getting identified, earlier it is easy for us to stand as 1 out of 10, but now we have to stand out as 1 out of 50 or even 1 out of 100. So publishing a paper and waiting for someone to read it, find it useful in their work, for their work, and cite it in their work is it's an outdated strategy, if I can use that phrase. Okay, so that's why I recommended, once again, in day 0 we talked about collaboration. Okay, ResearchGate is a great place. It makes recommendations. You can identify people who are doing similar research. Unfortunately, most of our researchers, even senior faculty members, they are not at all active in LinkedIn. Okay, my strong recommendation is that you become active in academic related social media. I'm not talking about Facebook and Twitter and other things, but ResearchGate, okay, LinkedIn. Talk to people who are doing similar kind of research. They publish something, comment on that. Okay, when I say comment on that, you don't simply say it's a fantastic work, congratulations. That doesn't mean anything at all. Okay, read their work and discuss what you liked, what you want to see improve, or maybe some questions that you are not, that paper did not clarify well. So meaningful conversation, that's simply the point. Okay, so over a period of time, you would have created a network of people doing similar research. Then simple question, sir, when I am interested in your work and I talk to you about it, naturally you would be at some point of time interested in me, right? You would start talking about what I am doing, what I have published, and then you might read that paper. You will have a couple of questions to me. So that spirit of academic discussions will increase. Okay, so naturally next time when I write an article, when I am about to write the literature review, I will say, okay, Ramanaya sir wrote a paper on this, so let me read about it and quote it in my work. I wouldn't do it because I want to do it, but I will do it because I know you have done that. So that increases the chances of citation. And the more the followers, the more collaborative your network becomes. Don't just limit yourself to local network. Social media is international, so let us also go international. So create a list of 10-15 people who are pioneers, who are your peers in that field. So it's a slow process, sir. It will not give you any results tomorrow or day after tomorrow, but in another 3 months or 6 months, you will have developed a good, great network. I would recommend that senior people, not necessarily senior people, even junior most people, you can share your experience, your insights about your field of research on LinkedIn. Regularly write. Okay, that's why that's another opportunity for you to create that habit of writing. Okay, so write about what you are doing, write about your you read something and then you found something useful, write about it. So the more you do this, the collaboration becomes better. You have developed a really good network of people with similar thinking processes, and it is very much possible that your citations also go up.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Welcome, sir. So at the end of the session, after all the formalities over, okay, I will share a feedback, request form, a feedback form. Okay, I mean, I know each of you are giving your feedback on a daily basis, but overall feedback from my side. So those feedback forms are collected by Polygraphs, and I'm sure I will get the results of how I did in the last 5 days. I'll get to know soon. But I would also like to have feedback directly from you. So I will share the feedback link in our group. Please take a moment. It will not take 2-3 minutes more than that. Okay, so take some time to complete that and keep in touch. Most importantly, keep in touch. So I don't want this to be a one-time event and I talk to you, because I don't even know most of the faces. All I'm looking at is S, D, A, B, C and characters in front of me. So I would love to, collaborate once again. I want to, keep in touch with all of you. And a lot of plans are there for, I mean, as part of Tolga, the company that I have
Yeah, one more
started.
request. We'll put it in feedback. I request your institution to conduct data analysis using JAS.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please
Okay.
include. Please include.
Yeah. Right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So there are a lot of individual workshops are also in the anvil. Okay, so if you are interested in learning these specific points, we talked about a few things about MS Word, journal selection and other things. So if you want to have some hands-on experience, or if you want to learn these things, you can be part of the workshops that I will be offering in the next few months, starting from the third week of February. So if you are interested in learning about them and please do send a message. You have my WhatsApp number, my email ID. You can reach out to me and I'll be happy to share information as and when things shape up. So with that, if there are no more questions, I'll be handing over to Veena ma'am. Yes, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, kindly switch on the camera. Let's have a screenshot photo.
Yes.
Dear participants, some more participants have to switch on their camera. I'm going to take.
Still a lot of
Yes, sir.
black letters. I think nobody was ready for a video video call. I'm not sure if I get an opportunity to thank formally. I mean, is there a vote of thanks, note of thanks, something like that?
Yes, yes, sir. That is a vote of thanks.
No, vote of thanks is something you will give. Do I get a
Yes,
chance
sir.
again? Do I get a chance again?
Sir, now is your chance. Everyone's
Now is my
camera
chance.
is open.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I really want to thank Holy Cross College for this opportunity. Merlin ma'am and I talked about this possibility, about this program a few months ago, but various reasons it couldn't happen immediately. But Merlin ma'am was regularly in touch. So we will do this or that. She's really, really enthusiastic. And thank you for making this happen. And most importantly, thank you, Sandamarai ma'am, for the reference and making this happen. Thank you very much. And for Veena ma'am for taking these 5 days, you know, uh, with your coordinating all of these sessions and other things. Thank you very much. And all the secretary, the principal sister, and the faculty members of the Department of Economics. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. Looking forward to see you all soon and very often. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, I request Dr. P. Maria Sophia, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics, Holy Cross College, Trichy, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Veena. Rejoice always. Pray without ceasing. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 16. Good evening, one and all. I feel honored and privileged to propose the vote of thanks for this 5 days faculty development program organized by PG and Research Department of Economics, Holy Cross College, Trichy. First of all, I would like to thank God Almighty for making this 5 days faculty development program a grand success. I express my sincere thanks to Reverend Sister Dr. Annie Xavier, Secretary Holy Cross College, for her blessing and motivating us in all our endeavor. I thank our eminent principal, Reverend Sister Dr. Isabella Rajakumari, Holy Cross College, for her continuous support and prayers. I would like to express our profound gratitude to our resource person, Mr. Murugaraj Sanmugam, Director, Tolha Publishing Service, Chennai, who have graciously agreed to share his insight and expertise on the topic published to progress. Really, the last 5 days sessions are very informative and useful to us. Your contribution will undoubtedly enrich research scholars and all the faculty members. On behalf of our management, the faculty members of Economics Department, and on my own behalf, I wholeheartedly thank you for your presence. Thank you, sir. I
Thank you.
express my sincere gratitude to our faculty members and research scholars from other institutions, those who have actively participated in the 5 days FDP program. I would like always, to, I would also like to thank our media house for their technical support. Gratitude makes sense our past, bring peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. Said by Melody Batty. Once again, I thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words of gratitude.
Thank you, Veena.
On my behalf, one second. Thank you, ma'am. And on my behalf, I wholeheartedly thank you all for your enthusiastic participation throughout the event. Your active engagement and eagerness to learn have made this event a resounding success. My special thanks to our resource person, Mr. Murugaraj Shanmugam sir, for being a wonderful resource person and generously sharing his expertise with us. Thank you so much, sir. With your insightful presentation, knowledge, and engaging delivery style, have greatly enhanced the learning experience. Thank you so much, sir. Dear participants, we hope that this 5 day faculty development program was a meaningful and enriching learning experience for you all. So we look forward to a continued for future endeavors, and stay connected and keep learning together. Thank you all. And finally, I thank the Holy Cross College management and each and every one of you who have made this FDP full and successful. I thank you all. Thank you so much, sir. Dear participants, I will share the feedback form. The certificates will be given when it is ready by Monday.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, participants, there are two feedback forms, one by our resource person and one from our college. Kindly fill both the feedback forms. Thank you.